Welcome back to the Form.IO Getting Started video series. After completing Milestone 1, your platform should be fully deployed and running. In this video, we'll cover Milestone 2, logging in to the developer portal, an important next step once your platform is live. This video will walk you through how to log in to the developer portal, set up developer portal authentication, and invite your team to start creating forms and developing your application together. To access the Form.IO portal, navigate to your deployment address and log in using the admin credentials set during the deployment process. Once inside, you'll see a special project called the Portal-Based Project. This project is designed specifically to control the behavior of the developer portal and manage authentication and access settings for your user base. Throughout this video, we'll primarily be working within this project. Do not use the portal-based project to build forms or develop your application. Instead, create a new project inside the portal for your application development. There are two main authentication methods for controlling user access to the deployed developer portal. Resource-based authentication utilizes Form.IO resources to create and manage user accounts. A resource is a special type of form that defines structured data objects within a project, for example, authenticated users or administrators. Users are created manually in a resource form inside the portal-based project, where their email and password credentials are securely stored in the Form.IO database. This method is best suited for simple internal access control when your organization does not use an external identity provider. SAML or OIDC authentication connects Form.IO to an external identity provider such as Entra ID, Okta, or Auth0. With this method, users authenticate seamlessly through your organization's existing login system. Users within their respective SSO groups can be mapped to Form.IO roles, giving controlled, role-based access to the deployed developer portal. This approach is ideal for enterprise deployments that require centralized user management and self-governed security policies. Now let's dig in on how to set up these two methods within the portal-based project. As a reminder, this same approach can be applied to your own custom project when you're ready to start developing your application. Resource-based authentication in Form.IO starts by defining a user model. Each user type is represented as a resource with fields like a user email and password to form the foundation of resource-based authentication. Every project in Form.IO includes an admin and user resource, which we will use for this exact purpose. Create new resources or modify the existing default resources to fit your organization's data model needs. To give users the right level of access, roles are assigned automatically by adding a role assignment action to the resource. Every user created within the resource is assigned to a specific Form.IO role, which defines what they can see and do inside the Form.IO developer portal. Once the model is ready, the user base can be built in different ways. Credentials can be entered manually, generated programmatically with API calls, or imported in bulk from a CSV file. Regardless of the method, it's important to note that no email invitation is sent to the user automatically. Credentials must be shared directly with each user. Use the default login form or create your own to connect to the resource, using fields like email and password. A login action ensures that the login form authenticates against the correct resource and maps to the appropriate user credential fields when the login form is submitted. Finally, test the authentication setup. Once logged in, the user is granted access to the developer portal with their defined roles and permissions. Now let's walk through how to set up SAML or OIDC SSO authentication in the Form.IO developer portal. SAML and OIDC both require an external identity provider to be configured and integrated within your Form.IO portal-based project. While each identity provider is a little different, they all follow the same general steps for creating your IDP application and organizing user groups. For detailed, provider-specific instructions, refer to the Form.IO help documentation. To start, create a new application within your identity provider and configure the appropriate callback URLs to connect to the Form.IO developer portal's deployment address. Next, create users and organize them into groups. These groups can later be mapped to Form.IO roles to control access and permissions for the Form.IO developer portal. When configuring OIDC or SAML authentication, your identity provider will generate a client ID and secret, as well as endpoints that must be integrated into the portal-based project's authentication settings. This information ensures the correct claims are passed when SSO users log into the Form.IO developer portal. For guidance specific to your authentication method and provider, consult the Form.IO documentation and your IDP setup guide. After creating your IDP app, collect the OIDC or SAML client ID and secret, as well as the endpoints generated by the IDP. Apply this information into your portal-based project's authentication settings. Map your SSO groups to Form.IO roles for granular control of developer portal access and permissions. The process for group-to-role mapping differs between OIDC and SAML. Once authentication succeeds, users from a given SSO group are automatically assigned the corresponding Form.IO role. Modify the portal-based project's login form linked to the Form.IO developer portal to enable OIDC or SAML authentication. This usually involves modifying the login button and adding some JavaScript code to handle the SSO authentication within the login form. Next, test the authentication process. Navigate to your deployed environment's login page, select the SSO button, sign in with your identity provider credentials. After authentication, the user should enter the Form.IO deployed portal with the mapped Form.IO role and appropriate permissions. Confirm the mapping by checking the user object after authentication. The JSON should display the SSO user details along with the associated Form.IO role ID. Once users authenticate into the Form.IO developer portal, their assigned roles determine what permissions they have inside the portal itself. By default, users assigned to the authenticated role can create and manage their own projects, as well as their own teams. Users assigned to the administrative role have access to all projects created within the deployed environment, including those owned by other users. Although access is granted to these projects, team permissions will need to be delegated in order to read and modify projects created by other users. Once authentication is set up, the next step is to create teams. Teams help organize users and control access to specific projects created within the deployed environment, ensuring the right people have the correct access and permissions to the right projects. Create a new team within the developer portal. Add team members by inputting the Form.IO email used when creating the resource-based user account. After authenticating into the platform, the users will need to manually accept their team invite in order to join the team. When creating teams for SSO users, ensure the SSO setting is checked during the team creation process. If you do not see this setting, ensure you have the correct environment variable configured within your deployment. When creating an SSO team, the team name must exactly match the external IDP group role name the SSO user is associated with. SSO users will automatically be added to the team associated with their IDP group. Once the team has been created, add the team to a project via the Project Team tab. Assign permissions to define what actions the team can perform within that project. Confirm team mapping by checking the user object after authentication. The JSON should show SSO user details and the associated Form.IO team ID. At this point, your Form.IO developer portal is fully configured with authentication for your user base. Remember, these same principles extend beyond the developer portal. When you set up authentication for a client-based application, you'll follow the same process of defining user models, mapping roles, and enforcing permissions, ensuring a consistent and secure access model across your entire Form.IO environment. In the next video, we'll walk through using the form builder to create your first form and then embedding it directly into your custom application. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing to the channel and sharing with your team. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos in the Form.IO Getting Started series.